All right, Cody, cut the music. Thank you very much, my friends. Not a moment to waste. Howard Riell, Riell Truth, item from thefreebeacon.com. Iran is using the billions in cash resources provided under the landmark nuclear deal to engage in an unprecedented military buildup meant to transform the Islamic Republic's fighting force into an offensive juggernaut, according to a largely unreported announcement by Iranian military leaders that sparked concern among U.S. national security insiders and sources on Capitol Hill. Iranian officials announced late last month Iran's defense budget has increased by 145% under President Hassan Rouhani, and that the military is moving forward with a massive restructuring effort aimed at making it, quote, a forward-moving force, according to regional reports. Iranian leaders have stated since the Iran deal was enacted that they're using the massive amounts of cash released under the agreement to fund the purchase of new military equipment and other armaments. Iran also has pursued multi-million-dollar arms deals with Russia since economic sanctions were nixed as part of the deal, unquote. So, my friends, let's do a hypothetical. We'll do a thinking exercise. Let's say Iran does what it says it wants to do. Build a dependable nuclear arsenal. Let's say it does that with the money that Democrat President Barack Obama and the Democrat Party gave him, $150 billion. Let's say they decide to, I don't know, shoot a nuke at, God forbid, Israel. Or shoot a nuke at Denver, Colorado. Let's say that nuke hits. Buildings are vaporized. The firestorm engulfs the people of Colorado. Perhaps even your very own children are seared to a crisp in a blinding flash of light. Because the mullahs in Iran, armed with billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of American money given to them by the Democrats, decided they want to wage jihad against the great Satan. And so your children are burned to death in a flash. Now tell me, here's the thought experiment part. How good at that point do you feel about supporting Democrats, voting for Democrats, voting for Obama, who could hardly wait to give that money to Iran, knowing it would be used for its nuclear jihad arsenal? Because as your children, your friends, your neighbors, your community are vaporized, the last thought going through your mind is that you helped make it happen by voting for the always soft Democrat Party, the always on the side of the jihad forces Democrat Party. So congratulations, my friends. You may have contributed to your own demise. It's Wednesday. It's Riell Truth. I'll be back.
This is Michael, control. The American Freedom doesn't need your peaceful. That's 1-800-205-645 to make your donation. Or send a check for money about 1750 Johnstown, Color 80534. PO Box 175 Johnstown, Color 80534. Help us speak for freedom on the air. Thanks. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little ones at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228. Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver. Not only best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo's.
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm Howard Riell. The show is called Riell Truth. Here's the latest column from Ann Coulter. The headline, Swamp People 47, Trump 0. I quote, "If this is the budget deal we get when Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, there's no point in ever voting for a Republican again. Not only is there no funding for a wall, but thanks to the deft negotiating skills of House Speaker Paul Ryan, the bill actually prohibits money from being spent on a wall." At a CYA press conference on Tuesday, Trump's ridiculously chipper budget director, Mick Mulvaney, described the bill's prohibition on building a wall as a major win. At least Mulvaney said in English, unlike his all-Spanish 2014 town hall. True, there will be no wall. But the Democrats graciously agreed to allow the administration to fix broken parts of any existing fences up to 40 miles of our 3,000-mile border. The other big wins, according to Mulvaney, are, number one, more defense spending, which is fantastic news because I was worried Boeing and Lockheed Martin CEOs were falling behind Mark Zuckerberg and their gluttonous salaries. Number two, school choice, an obsession of Washington wonks that's hated out in America, where parents move to high-tax towns for the express purpose of avoiding schools full of disaffected urban youth, and the disaffected urban youth don't want to spend 2 hours on a bus every day. But Mulvaney assures us that this monstrosity of a spending bill has set up things beautifully for the next budget negotiation in October. That's become the GOP's official motto, next time. We can never win this time. Instead, Republicans' idea is always to surrender this time in order that their gentlemanliness will be rewarded by their mortal enemies next time. Then, next time comes, the Republicans again surrender in hopes of currying favor with the Democrats and the media for the next time. Mulvaney's most disturbing comment was to say that what upset Trump the most was Democrats, quote, spiking the ball on the deal. Apparently, Trump's fine with no wall and everything else in the bill straight out of George Soros' dream journal. If only the Democrats hadn't been so rude as to tell the public about it. When your main complaint is that the other side is gloating too much, maybe you're not that great a negotiator. Yeah, sure, it's only 100 days in, and it's an artificial deadline. The media is dying to say Trump has failed and so on, except planning for the wall should have begun on November 9th, and a spade should have been put in the earth to begin building it the day after Trump's inauguration. Now it's 100 days later, and we still don't have the whisper of a prospect of a wall. Moreover, there isn't one random bill funding Planned Parenthood, which the bill does. This is the budget deal. There won't be another one like it until next October. That's a spectacular failure. Democrats have got to be pinching themselves thinking, am I dreaming this? It's theoretically possible Trump could still build a wall, but he's just massively lengthened the odds of ever prevailing. Sure, you can let the other team build a 20-point lead in the first half and still come back to beat them, but it's a lot easier if you don't go into halftime 20 points down. Trump entered the presidency with the only kind of power that matters. He didn't owe Wall Street a thing. He didn't owe anyone, not donors, lobbyists, nor any political party. What he had was the people, passionately on his side. But as soon as he got into office, Trump started giving away his miraculous, unprecedented power. Hey, Wall Street, even though you didn't give me any money, is it too late to be your friend? No amount of abandoning his supporters will get Trump anywhere with Wall Street, Hollywood, or the media. Their ferocity will simply shift to ridicule. Admittedly, Trump has an enormous handicap of having to work through congressional Republicans who are feckless cowards. If Speaker Ryan and Senate Leader Mitch McConnell had been around for Reagan's firing of the air traffic controllers, they would have been hysterically screaming, "No, you can't do that. The planes will crash." This isn't new information. We knew Washington Republicans were useless. That's why we elected such a comically improbable president as Donald J. Trump. The deal was that we were getting the Hollywood version of a New York businessman, an uncouth, incurious rube who would be ruthless in getting whatever he wanted. In addition to being the only candidate for president in either party taking America's side on trade, immigration, jobs, and crime, what set Trump apart was his promise that we would finally win. Remember, there'd be so much winning we were going to get sick and tired of winning and beg him, please, please, we can't win anymore. It's too much. It's not fair to everybody else. We're not winning. We're losing. and we're losing on the central promise of Trump's campaign. How would Trump, the businessman, react if an underling charged with developing a new golf course could never break ground? What if the subordinate's progress report sounded like this? I've given 21 speeches to various chambers of commerce and neighborhood groups, assuring them that there's going to be a golf course. Everywhere I go, I say, don't worry about it, it's going to be built. I've started to commission a study developing a golf course. I put up a sign saying golf course coming. And I have caved, so now our opponents know what good guys we are. Trump would fire that employee so fast your head would spin. We want the ruthless businessman that we were promised. Unquote. Item from the Economic Collapse blog. Why do things never seem to change no matter who we send to Washington? It seems like for decades, many of us have been trying to change the direction of this country by engaging in the political process, but no matter how hard we try, the downward spiral of our nation just continues to accelerate. Just look at this latest spending deal. Even though the American people gave the Republican control of the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, this deal very closely resembles an Obama administration-era budget. It increases spending even though we've already been adding more than $1 trillion a year to the national debt. It specifically forbids the building of a border wall. It fully funds Planned Parenthood, and there are dozens of other concessions to the Democrats in it. As I previously warned, these negotiations were a political rout of epic proportions. Perhaps many of us were being highly unrealistic when we expected Donald Trump would change things, because fixing America is going to take a lot more than getting the right number of red or blue politicians to Washington. Rather, the truth is that the real problem lies in our hearts, in the corrupt politicians that currently represent us. They're simply a reflection of who we've become as a nation. The generations of people that founded this nation and established it as the greatest republic the world had ever seen had a far different values than most Americans today. So until there's a dramatic shift in how most of us see the world, it's quite likely not much in Washington will change. Throughout the campaign, Donald Trump spoke boldly about draining the swamp, but the spending deal very much reflects the swamp's priorities. Unquote, my friends. We'll be back.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom capabilities of modest emergency all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com.
The Lord leaves the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the people of both them. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation. God is the Lord. The people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America's News Network.
All right, guys, welcome back to Riell Truth. Howard Riell behind the microphone. Newt Gingrich was on the Laura Ingraham show earlier today. Let's listen in on the conversation.
Speaker Gingrich joins us now. Of course we're going to talk politics, but I want to talk humor with him as well. Hey, Newt, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I have to confess that what we're seeing are almost pathological rants disguised by comedians who want us to believe it's comedy, but it's almost like they're getting psychotherapy by ranting to their audience.
And it's not funny, it's not entertaining, and you're speaking to such a narrow cast group of Americans where the classic, epic comedians of the last 100 years really did cut across all lines. Then there was always ethnic humor that everyone understood. Now it's politically incorrect. But even that, for the most part, wasn't mean-spirited. It was situational. It was observational, and everyone could laugh at it. It was hilarious. But now it's all mean-spirited, all left-wing, with a few exceptions, all the time. And that's why so many people are tuning it out.
I think that's right. I think people are tired of anger. All the left has right now is anger, whether it's violence in Portland or it is riots on college campuses, or it's comedians ventilating their anger in what's supposed to be a monologue, but is actually just an unending effort to trash the president.
Newt, we have to ask you about this showdown over health care. We're going to also talk about the budget. But it looks like they're still several votes short of some deal. I'm understanding that the ultimate bill that may come out of this, has some decent provisions in it, but that it still isn't going to really do what Republicans wanted to do, which is to fully repeal Obamacare and ultimately bring down prices of health care and inject more market forces into the healthcare system. But what's your take on the holdouts in the GOP? A lot of them are moderates now who are holding out.
Well, I think you watched sort of a game of ping pong, which I think is partly just the way that this is so misdesigned as a process that you now have, when you start solving the Freedom Caucus problem, you start losing moderates. When you start fixing the moderate problem, you start losing the Freedom Caucus. And they almost need to erase the board and start over again. And let's take the example of preconditions. The Wall Street Journal did a great job explaining the precondition opportunity in the Republican bill. In fact, it tells you something about the communications failure, that the only really good briefing on it is the Wall Street Journal editorial. And I'll bet you that not 20 members of the House can explain it.
I think
this is the kind of process where you have to quietly listen to every member, understand in advance what their concerns are, and try to find a way to answer their concerns. I apologize, I've got allergies.
You have the thing I have, and you keep coughing. The pollen in D.C. is one of the worst seasons ever, and I've never had allergies until this year, maybe last year I had a little, Newt, but I'm in the same boat as you, so, cough away. You and I are the same.
But from my perspective, you start with, what do we mean by dismantling Obamacare, and what is it the public will not tolerate? Well, the highest value the public has is continuing the ability to not lose your insurance if you have a precondition. It's like a 94, 95% issue, because health is life and death. And I try to tell people to rush this thing and try to ram it through in the first couple of weeks never made any sense, because it is one out of every $5 in the economy. It's a matter of life and death. And in the end, people are going to ask personal questions. What about me? What about my condition? What about my cousin or my niece or my daughter? And if you can't answer, if your members aren't trained enough to give a positive answer that people can relax, then nobody's going to trust Washington. That's one of the great lessons of 2016. If they were going to trust Washington, they would have elected Hillary. And so I think the ox is in the ditch. If they can't get it out of the ditch this week, I think they need to take a deep breath, erase the board, start with the basics, build the coalition back together. In 3 or 4 weeks, if they have every member involved in the conversation, they will eventually get to a majority. But they can beat their head against the wall all year, and this ping pong that they're playing right now is very hard for me as somebody, as an outsider, but somebody who used to do this for a living. It's hard for me to see how they're going to get to a majority because they've set it up right now so everybody's increasingly suspicious and increasingly unwilling to take risks.
I think that's exactly right. And Newt, I think most people in middle America who just want to be assured that this administration is going to really make progress, real progress on the core issues that he campaigned on that were very popular. This is right at the top of the list. And I think it would be really helpful, and I'd love your institutional memory on this, because I was watching an old Reagan speech, I think it was 83, when he was discussing the economy and his plans. He gave an address from the Oval Office, I think it was 83, an address from the Oval Office, and even back then with the rudimentary graphics and stuff, they had charts, like graphics, on-air graphics, a few charts where he explained how we got into this mess and how we were going to get out of it. And it was, I think, 25 minutes long. It was so compelling. And it was a half-hour address to the nation. I think we need that from this White House, because I think, people are all over the place. One person saying one thing and another is another thing. There's no message discipline. There's very little message discipline that at least not the type that I would like to see.
Well, that's right. And I think one of the challenges that the president's got to come to grips with is that he's really smart, but the rest of us may not be as smart. And he may be able to keep track of 6 or 7 different topics. We can't. As a country, and this is what Reagan was so, as you know, because you worked with him, he was so disciplined. I remember one point in 81 when they were trying to pass the Economic Growth Act, the big tax cut, and Jim Baker, as his chief of staff, said to the whole cabinet, if you don't have a speech topic that relates to this bill, don't ask for the president's time. Because the only thing he's going to talk about until the bill passes is this bill. And that was the kind of focused energy that we needed in order to be able to get these things done. And I think that the president is going to have to find a similar pattern, partially because, as you know, you can't negotiate inside Washington. You don't have the leverage for change if all you're doing is negotiating with Congress inside Washington. Reagan's great position, which he said brilliantly in his farewell address, which I'm just rereading again this morning. He said, all the victories people claim I won because of you, the American people. It was your phone calls, it was your letters, etc. Reagan understood that if he had the country on his side, they would pressure Congress into being for him. And I think right now this administration does too much insider negotiating and does too little reaching out to the American people, educating the American people, and recruiting the American people.
Oh, I think it's an excellent point. How many Republicans do you think are, kind of secretly hoping the border wall never gets funded? I mean, you know that Brian and those...
20 or 30, that's a good example. I was at the White House yesterday talking to some folks. They actually have the money to build the wall in the bill. What the Democrats agreed to block out was concrete. And the point they made, and they brought in the director of the budget to make this point to the news media, and, just kind of, they don't want to cover it. I mean, the fact is, they're going to build the wall. They have a steel wall that's already been put up in some places. They're going to build more of it. They have a tremendous amount of money in this bill to do that. And the Democrats are kidding themselves if they think they stopped the wall. The same thing's true on Planned Parenthood. The money that's being allocated does not mention Planned Parenthood. It's going to be administered by Tom Price, and Tom Price is not going to give it to Planned Parenthood. But they're so unable to articulate these things that it really worries me that we're doing more good things than we can explain, and we're getting blamed for things that aren't true that we can't even defend.
Newt Gingrich here on the Laura Ingraham Show. Speaker Gingrich, thank you so much for joining us, as always. Perspective, hard-won, through real experience. You have something called real experience versus the pontificators on television. many of them who've never strategized for anyone, but they're called strategists. Newt, love having you on. Thanks so much. Say hi to...
Well, he's got real experience. My friends, we've got real truth. Item from Breitbart. You'd be tempted to think the $1 trillion government funding deal is like Christmas morning for Democrats, as Republicans have handed them free media to brag about how much of the president's agenda they've stopped. You see it in the news as an omnibus spending bill when it should really be called the Status Quo Protection Act. President Hillary Clinton would have been proud of this bill. It tosses out campaign promises as it continues to fund the military-industrial complex and the welfare state. It not only rejects President Trump's calls for cuts to multiple agencies, but it increases their funding by millions of dollars. It paves the way for those agencies to engage in more use it or lose it September spending. It leaves our deficit at well over $500 million. While good provisions are tucked in, overall, as Bloomberg reported, the compromise resembles more of an Obama administration-era spending bill than a Trump one. Unquote. My friends, spin it any way you like. It's a defeat for the Republicans and for Americans. Item from Reuters. Russia succeeded in its goal of sowing discord in U.S. politics by meddling in the 2016 presidential election, which will likely inspire similar future efforts, two top former U.S. voices on intelligence said on Tuesday. Stop! Wrong! It's not true. First of all, if there is proof that the Russians meddled in the election, that they affected even so much as one vote, I have yet to see it, and I'm watching for it. So I haven't seen any proof. All I've heard is people who have a vested interest in the government apparatus say it's so. I haven't seen any proof. That's only number one. Here's number two. This sowing discord thing in U.S. politics, that's done by the left. That's done by the Democrats. That's done by liberals. It's done by the media. It's done by the rhinos on the right, Republicans in name only. Those are the ones who've been sowing discord, not the Ruskies. Item from Breitbart. There are nearly 46,000 foreign-born criminals sitting in federal prisons, according to data released by the Department of Justice. In a new report by Attorney General Jeff Sessions, 45,493 foreign-born convicted criminals were found to be in federal U.S. prisons, with the vast majority being illegal aliens. In total, there are roughly 190,000 inmates in federal prisons. Of the 45,493 foreign-born inmates, only 3,939 were U.S. citizens, while the majority, 41,528 inmates, were illegal aliens. More than 54% of all the 41,528 illegal alien inmates have already been issued deportation orders. Stop, my friends. Here's my contribution to the discussion. Traitors are shot. Spies are shot. What do you say when people sneak into our country, we regard them as spies? We regard them as terrorists, which they are. They're both. They're spies and they're terrorists. What do you say we pass a law that says terrorists can be shot on sight? What do you say we shoot these bastards? If we did, if we cleaned house, you'd be able to hear crickets chirping along the southern border, because no one would be sneaking into America and committing violent crimes. Item from Breitbart. The University of California, Berkeley paid police $500,000 in overtime last Thursday to deal with the threat created by leftists opposed to letting conservative author Ann Coulter speak, even though she never did. Unquote. My friends, the amazing, glowing stupidity to be found in college campuses across this nation, and especially in Berkeley, knows no bounds. $500,000 wasted for nothing. We'll be back.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or 4 nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most Bio Superfood from BioH.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with both memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioH.com, spelled BIOAGE.com, BioH.com, or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioH, the age of advanced organics.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems that put custom-tailored capabilities as modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial-scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom-designed system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. This is Michael. The American Freedom Network needs your 6245. That's 1-800-205-6245 to make your donation. Or send a check or money order to PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. Help us keep the voice of freedom on the air. Thank you. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, my friends, welcome back to Riell Truth. The question is, the GOP leadership on the same page as Donald Trump? I think the answer is pretty obvious. They are not. Here's Tucker Carlson speaking earlier today on Fox and Friends. Here we go.
Meanwhile, somebody who I know for a fact is actually fallen asleep.
Excuse me. Pardon me. I heard several people yesterday from the administration crowing about what they got. I heard Mike Pence, the vice president. I heard Mick Mulvaney, the director of OMB. I heard other people, Sean Spicer, talking about what a good deal it was for Republicans. I'll tell you what, none of them convinced me. Sorry. Back to Tucker.
Well, I think that's right. I mean, I think you're absolutely right.
Now, Tucker, if you're suggesting for a moment that liberals are immature, stupid individuals who have a need to vent incredible amounts of hatred, if that's what you're suggesting, Tucker, well, I agree with you.
Say 2 years ago, if a conservative comment about President Obama,
That's because, as I've said many times, the liberals are always closed-minded, always angry, always vengeful, and it ends up the liberals are always the tyrants, always the censors, always the fascists. That's where liberalism goes. That's it. That's the end of the rainbow. The end of the yellow brick road of liberalism is fascism. Item from the Daily Caller. President Donald Trump is expected to push Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas to end payments to the families of terrorists when the two leaders meet at the White House Wednesday. That's today. Think about this, my friends. The Palestinians pay tens of millions, $170 million a year on the Palestinian Authority Martyrs Fund. Kill a Jew, you get money. These are the rats that we need to include in the peace process. These are the guys whose national ambitions we need to respect. No. These are the guys we need to hunt to extinction. Then there might be peace. We'll take a break and we'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Earth.
Well, it had to happen. But Colorado legalized marijuana. Most people thought the Green Herb was a marijuana dispensary. Also, it was legalized on January the 1st, 2014. The same day we opened our new location at 4565 Kipling Street, 1.5 blocks south of I-70. There are 83,000 cars a day passing in front of our new location on Kipling Street, and most of them thought we were a marijuana dispensary. So, we changed the name of our retail store to New Genesis Health, but we kept the name of our Green Herb Supplements. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the Healthy Nature Show with Linda Phillips every Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but said, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter not be able to find. No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, and courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families foot the bill for our freedom every day. Send a military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care.
My friends, I always bring you some excellent insights, whether they come from me or my colleagues. Here are some excellent insights. Ann Coulter earlier today on the Mike Gallagher Show. Let's go.
I think I'm frustrated about
My friends, Republicans are too nice. Nice people are too nice. Civilized, intelligent, thinking people are too nice. That's why the animals sometimes win. That's why the scorched earth, win at any cost Democrats are kicking Republicans' asses. Because they're animals, they fight dirty, they fight constantly, they're good at it, and they win. When do the Republicans get good at it? When do we on the right begin to win? When do we begin to act like we're a majority, since there are 3 parts to our government and we've got 1, 2, 3? When do we start to win? Let's take a break and we'll be back and we'll wrap it up. More Real Truth to come.
Do you have any health challenges that concern you? If you said yes, you are ready to evolve yourself. Call today and qualify for a free pain treatment. 970-667-4669.
I'm Dr. Stanowski, chiropractor, radio host, author of Evology, a new healthcare paradigm for the 21st century. My all-natural approach is affordable and can show improvement in as little as 1 visit. Truth be told, holistic health starts with a healthy life plan, and those who execute that plan over a consistent course catch up, heal, and thrive. I guarantee. If your health is fading and on prescription drugs, if you want your energy back, deeper sleep, pain-free, or refocus an unresolved personal injury case, call me and let's get you in the best shape of your life. Schedule a visit with me, Dr. Zip.
We are located at the Overland Trail Shop in LaPorte. Call 970-667-4669. EVOLyourself.com.
This is Michael. The American Freedom Network needs your please call 1-800-205-6245 to make your determination. Or send a check for money or PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. Freedom on the air. Thank you. Elizabeth Locker Fund and Elizabeth reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's from Elizabeth Locker Plant, located at 366 Grant Street in Elizabeth, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized aged beef and pork and complete custom processing. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240.
Item from the Press Citizen. A University of Iowa student has been charged with threat of terrorism after police say he threatened to bring a gun to graduation. Soleiman Abaid Al-Tamimi, 25, went to the university's International Programs Office at the University Capitol Center around 11:30 a.m. on Friday and asked to make a speech at the graduation ceremony, according to UI police complaints. When staff told Al-Tamimi that he could not give a speech, he replied that, quote, he will bring a gun to the final ceremony, unquote. Yeah, you know what? Let's bring more and more and more Muslims into America, because then everything will be just peachy. Item from Jihad Watch. Host Paul Barry of Australia's leading forum for media analysis, Media Watch, has openly stated that the Australian Broadcasting Network hired Muslim host Yasmin Abdul Majid solely because she's a Muslim. Now Andrew Bolt in the Herald Sun is accusing the ABC network of being a, quote, racist and pro-Muslim in its hiring, unquote. When one looks at the evidence, it's certainly enough to question the hiring practices of the ABC. 2.5 months ago, a petition that demanded ABC fire Majid for her open support for Sharia gained 10,600 signatures. The Daily Mail also reported that Majid, quote, reached out to global hardline Islamist political group Hizb ut-Tahrir after her polarizing television appearance where she declared Islam to be the most feminist religion. There's more. On Anzac Day, Majid insulted Australian history when she tactlessly wrote on Facebook, quote, lest we forget Manus, Nauru, Syria, Palestine, unquote, provoking a social media outcry. The leftist media has long proven itself, quote-unquote, tolerant towards Sharia-pushing Muslims, despite the clear human rights abuses that are practiced under Sharia law, but the brazenness of ABC is telling, unquote. My friends, that's liberals. One way or another way, they will get us killed. Item from the Daily Mail in Australia. An Islamic sheikh who speaks out against radicalization and Sharia law has been cursed and spat at while walking down the street in the Muslim heartland of Sydney, Australia. Shia Imam Sheikh Mohammed Tahidi was mobbed with abuse only moments after strolling along Haldon Street in Lakemba, which is home to Australia's largest mosque. A man shouted in Arabic as he ventured past shops with 7 News reporter Brian Seymour shortly before noon on Monday. Asked by what the insult meant, Sheikh Tawhidi said it means, "May God curse you, pig, you dog." Unquote. That's how much Muslims want peace. Item from Jihad Watch. When 12 officers arrived, the 12-year-old starting in the middle, no good. Item from the Associated Press. Uber has suspended a driver in Australia while police investigate allegations that he told a passenger he led an organization related to Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant and planned to blow up Parliament House, the ride-hailing company said on Monday. Unquote. My friends, where you have Muslims, you have the threat of violence. And you have real violence, and terrible violence, inhuman violence, endless, ceaseless, dark ages violence. That's where you have Muslims. Where you don't have Muslims, you don't have any of those things. You just have peace. You just have quiet. You just have nothing blowing up. I don't know about you. That's the kind of place I like to live in. All right, guys, I'll be back tomorrow with more Real Truth. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay angry. Hasta luego.